I'm James Lee. I'd like to talk to you about eye tracking research that I'm doing on active and passive sentences in the Department of Classical and Modern Languages and Literatures. This is a passive sentence in Spanish. Paco es criticado por Alicia. It translates word for word into English. Paco is criticized by Alicia. The big difference is that the Spanish verb phrase has a lot more agreement features than the English sentence does. The next slide I'm going to show you comes from eye tracking data. It has two features. It's called a gaze plot. And as I said, it has two features. You're going to see circles. These are called eye fixations. This is where during reading, the eyes stop moving. And when the eyes stop moving, the brain starts working and processing the information. The other aspect that you'll see are lines. They're called saccades. These are incredibly swift eye movements from fixation to fixation. This is a native speaker of Spanish reading the sentence, Paco es criticado por Alicia. So in our research, the participant reads the sentence and then shows their interpretation by selecting one of two pictures. What you should immediately see when you look at the gaze plot is that the native speaker allocates most of their visual attention on the verb form, es criticado. There are two fixations on Paco, the person that's being criticized. And for this native speaker, there is no direct allocation of attention on Alicia, the person who is doing the criticizing. The next slide I'm going to show you is the gaze plot for a non-native speaker of Spanish who's in their third semester of learning Spanish, so pretty early on. I'm going to superimpose the gaze plot on top of this one. It's in red, so you should be able to see it. What you should immediately notice is that the non-native speaker is not allocating visual attention to the same parts of the sentence that the native speaker does. The non-native speaker is allocating most of their visual attention on the prepositional phrase por Alicia. There's only one fixation on Paco, and there's only one fixation on the verb. With only one fixation on the verb, the only information that the non-native speaker can get from that is the meaning of the verb, criticize. The problem with all of this is that when it comes time to interpret the meaning of the sentence, the non-native speaker is going to resort to using word order, Paco, criticize, Alicia. And the tendency is going to be for non-native speakers to select this picture, that Paco is the person who is criticizing Alicia. The problem, they have misinterpreted the sentence. This is not optimal processing. Moving forward with this information, we want to create scenarios where we can get these non-native speakers to engage in optimal processing. So we have a very large project going in the eye tracking lab because we know from previous research that attention is teachable, but even more importantly, we know that attention is learnable. So we are manipulating various conditions to find out what conditions in combination are the ones that create optimal processing conditions. So we are manipulating explanation in combination with feedback. Is there an optimal combination? But also we want to find out if ongoing continued exposure by itself is the necessary condition. We also are manipulating different types of feedback. We're also trying to determine if there's a minimum proficiency threshold level that has to be crossed first in order to get to optimal processing. And we're working with an individual difference called working memory capacity. Does a second language learner have to have a particular working memory capacity size for optimal processing to happen? So We know this is not an optimal processing situation. We are working to change this. Thank you.